everyone, welcome to another video for assignments@stamp.com. Today I'm going to be making a card using supplies from the December 2013 card kit. And it's going to sort of be a card that really focuses on pattern paper. So if you have a 6x6 pattern paper pack that you absolutely love, or if you have this card kit, this would be a great card to make. So I've cut and folded some white wood grain cardstock, and I made a top folding card, and now I'm going to be using some pattern paper from the kit. The first paper I'm using is kind of like a snowflake glitter paper, and I'm adhering it to the card so that it's kind of off to one side, and I adhered that using some Tombow stamp runner. Just put that down on that card base and pressed it flat. Now I'm going to be using this diagonal striped pattern paper, but before I get to that, I'm going to stamp my greeting. I'm using a greeting from the stamp set that comes in the December card kit, and it says sending big holiday wishes. So I'm prepping my green cardstock before I stamp and emboss, and by prepping my cardstock, it's going to make it so I get a really clean embossed image, because no embossing powder is going to stick to areas where I don't want it. So I'm stamping my greeting in Versamark ink, just pressing that down, and then I'll be applying some Hero Art white embossing powder, just sprinkling that on, and then heat setting it until it melts with my heat tool. Now you'll notice that the cardstock warped a little bit, but once I cut it out, it didn't show at all, and you can always kind of heat the back side of the cardstock to help prevent any warping as well. So I'm going to be using the striped pattern paper, and I'm just getting kind of the spacing right, and then I'm going to cut kind of like a long column and corner chomp those corners on my greeting, just using the 1/4 inch corner rounder on my corner chomper. And then adhering the greeting with some foam squares. I'm going to put foam squares in each of the 4 corners and then one in the center. That's going to make sure that I don't have any areas that are kind of drooping or that might get squashed or crushed when I send this card in the mail. So I'll just take off all those backing pieces and then put it straight down onto that pattern paper. I'm now going to take it to my paper trimmer and trim that down. And I'm going to be adhering it to the card, but before I get to that, I'm going to kind of test out some different pattern paper pieces. And this is the one I decided to use. It's just a strip of some red pattern paper. This is all the same pattern paper from the kit. And I adhered that using a Tombow stamp runner. And you'll notice that I line up my card on my grid mat, and then I adhere the strip of pattern paper. By lining it up on the grid mat, I can use those lines as a guide to help me make sure that I get this pattern paper on there completely straight. So I line it up on the left side, and then I let it up on the right, and then press down and make sure that everything's adhered nicely. Next, I adhered the greeting piece. Just put some foam squares, just like before, one in each corner and then one in the center. Press that down onto the card. And then I corner chomped the very bottom corners of the card. This time I'm using the 1/2 inch corner rounder, and that just sort of mimics the corners that are on that greeting. Then I thought it'd be fun to kind of bring in a little heart. So I'm using this heart punch from Punch Bunch. And the red paper has all these little hearts in it. I was looking for a heart that was near the edge of the paper that I could punch out. I thought it'd be kind of fun to have a little tiny heart inside the punched heart. So I found that one at the bottom. And then I cut a little tiny foam square. I just cut those regular large foam squares down to a smaller piece, put that on the heart, and now I'm adhering it straight down onto the card, right on top of the greeting, in between the letters I and G. To make that heart stand out even more and give a little bit of interest on top of all that busy background, I took some glossy accents and just coated that heart. And that's the card for today. Hope you guys enjoyed and you try out a pattern paper card like this. And thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.